And we're live. Hey, hello, good morning, and welcome in, everybody. Ivan here. Today, I want to spend a few minutes taking a deep dive and a learning opportunity on the zoot comb and the zoot comb cutting system. Many of you have a zoot comb. Many of you have bought, tried, and used a zoot comb. And many of you love your zoot comb. You know, just a few days ago, before the end of July, was the second anniversary of the zoot comb. It's 2 years ago at the Cosmoprof show in Las Vegas, Nevada, that we launched zoot comb to the world and to the professional beauty and barber industry. So I've done a lot of videos. There's a lot of quickie short stuff on my YouTube channel. There's a lot of featured videos in which I use the zoot comb to do technical hair cutting. But what we haven't ever really done was sort of a deep dive. So this is going to be a little bit longer than a lot of the videos I've done in talking about the zoot comb and the zoot comb system. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to tell you the story behind it, the history behind how it came to be. I wanted to tell you what is unique and special about it. And then, of course, because it's a haircutting video, we're going to do a little bit of a demo on some of the features so you can actually see the features of the zoot comb in place. You know, I coined the phrase the Swiss Army knife of men's hair cutting, or the ultimate men's hair cutting tool, to describe it. And that's really what I was shooting for when I brought the idea to the folks from Denman. You know Denman. Here's a little mini, the world famous classic Denman brush. You know that brush. These are the guys that actually make zoot comb with me in Belfast in Northern Ireland. I went there right before we launched about 2 years ago to actually visit with the team at the factory that I had worked with remotely. I was doing Zoom before COVID as we designed and developed all of the unique features and characteristics of the comb. And then I went to the factory to see how it was being made. And then, of course, we did a hair show over there in the UK while we were there. But Denman, the Denman folks have been the world leader in grooming products, specifically brushes, some combs and things like that. And it was a natural that when I had an idea for a different way of approaching the comb end of the world, and that's where the patent comes in, the unique patented guard system. We'll take a close look at that. Denman were the natural folks for me to take it to. I had a business relationship with them before we got involved in the comb project, and the comb project obviously just took that relationship to the next level. So zoot comb, the ultimate men's grooming and short hair cutting tool. How did it happen? Well, hair cutters like their combs. And as a hair cutter who's cut a lot of hair, 3 Guinness World Records along the way, and you want to talk about Ireland, you want to talk about Guinness, there you go. I had combs that I loved. I had combs that I liked for different things. Different combs for different things. I like this comb for scissor cutting, and I like that comb for clipper cutting, and I liked another comb for razor cutting, and I had a favorite lining, edging, detailing, and finishing comb. So what I did was I took all of my favorite combs and I dumped them in a pile. And I sat down and I went through the combs and I said, okay, for lining, edging, detailing, and finishing, why do I like this comb? What do I like about this comb? And what is it that makes this comb my go-to choice for that? One of the things that came out of that exercise is recognizing that a great comb for one thing is not a great comb for something else. And that a comb that is excellent for one task will be really the wrong tool for another, based on their features, based on their design, tooth spacing, tooth width and depth, the shape of the top of the tips of the teeth, the materials that the comb is made out of, its degree of rigidity or flexibility, its color. All of these things are factors that go into what makes a comb a go-to and a beloved choice, and what makes another comb a comb that sits in a drawer and you never touch. And we've all done that. We've all looked at a comb, seen a comb, kind of felt it in our hands, played with it a little bit, bought it, taken it home, and it sat in a drawer and we just didn't use it. And at the same time, we've all had that comb that, you know, it loses a tooth and we know we shouldn't, but we still want to cut hair with it. I always say, lose a tooth, lose the comb. By the way, I've never broken a tooth off of a zoot comb ever, back from when we had prototypes. Part of that is the material from which they're made. They're made to be viciously, viciously durable, and we've been a big success in that regard. But literally, never popped a tooth off a zoot comb in the 2 years that they've been available for use, and in all the prototype projects that we had done along the way. So we set out to take literally the best of every comb I've ever used. What do I like about that comb? What do I like about that comb? And put it together and build the ultimate comb. Now, the important thing was we've got 5 primary cutting tools in the haircut business. And here they are right here. Clipper, trimmer, scissor, razor, blender. These are the 5 tools we use in the process of taking hair off of people. And what I set out to do was I set out to create a comb that was very specifically designed to mate with or to match with those 5 tools. I wanted the ultimate trimmer comb. I wanted the ultimate clipper comb. I wanted the perfect comb for blending scissors. I wanted the go-to choice for razor cutting. And I wanted an all-around everyday scissor comb that would meet my needs no matter what sat in my chair. And the idea was also tied to the world records and efficiency. You know, as an efficiency fan, as someone who enthusiastically talks about and promotes efficiency, my idea was you pick up the comb when the customer sits down in your chair, and you don't put it down until you're done. You don't go back to your drawer. You don't go back to your station top. You've got that comb in your hand. You're going to use it for everything you do. And when you're done with the haircut, you're done with the comb. Into the sanitizer it goes. There's another thing. It was very important that the comb fit inside the barbicide jar, below the top of the water level, inside the jar with the lid on, down, and closed properly. That's a big challenge for a lot of clipper combs that are just too long to do that. So we built this list of what we wanted the comb to do, how we wanted the comb to work, and what were important characteristics of the comb, like that barbicide jar comment. And we began to develop a picture, literally a picture, a doodle on paper of what that ultimate comb would look like. So let me take you on a tour. Let me take you through the features and the construction. We've got a plastics material here that is designed to be very, very durable, very prone to knot, warping, distorting, bending. It's flexible when it's thin, and it's rigid when it's thicker, but it's not going to degrade in the barbicide or any other chemicals. It's not going to be subject to scratching and scraping from contact with our cutting tools. It's going to have a smooth finish where we want it, but we can texture it in detail with the mold. It's going to be highly durable. And then there was one key feature that is a subtle feature until you fully understand it. The snap-on attachment guider guard system, that's these guys right here. There's 3 of them. There's a 2 and a 3 and a 4, like your clipper guards. These snap onto the comb, and we'll go in more detail on this in a moment, but the teeth lock in, and then, do you hear that click? It snaps back. What was going to be very important was that through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of on and off cycles, snap that guard in, take that guard off, snap that guard in, and repeat all day long. We didn't want the material here at the clip point to degrade. We didn't want the little tooth here at the clip to degrade. It had to have a very positive, very clean, safe click day one and every day after that. And again, I have samples. This one here from my road kit, this has had, I can't even tell you how many on and off cycles, and there's no wiggle, there's no rattle, there's no chatter. It's on there as clean and tight as it was the day it came out of the package. That's all about the choice of material. There are plastics that will not behave that way. There are materials that will not hold up durability-wise to that kind of on and off use and that kind of flex. So again, very specific choice of materials. Color. I've always loved dark hair, light combs, light hair, dark combs. Comb contrast. You can't cut what you can't see. But we were only going to do one comb. So the answer was a very quick and obvious medium gray, a light to medium gray color that would allow us ideal visibility on all hair colors. You can have white in the corners like I do, and you can have dark black hair, and you can see it contrasted beautifully in your zoot comb, whether it's that white hair or whether it's that dark hair moving up the head. The comb color was a very specific and deliberate choice to give us that visibility. Not an accident. I like to say when I go through this comb and I go through the features, not an accident. Now here's another one. When we talk about clipper over comb, I always talk about hold up a quarter. I always talk about holding the comb with your thumb and forefinger to be able to manipulate it. And I always talk about don't surface grab. Don't put your thumb on the face of the comb like that, thinking you're going to twist the comb with your wrist. That's going to create stress and inflammation here and pain here at the shoulder. So hold up a quarter has always been the song that I've been singing on clipper over comb. Well, again, not an accident. When you get into the handle area of the comb and you take a look there, that handle area is exactly the width of a quarter from top to bottom, from fingertip to thumb tip. Not an accident. What that does is it opens up your hand. This closes your hand and creates a pinching right here. This opens your hand. It's squishy here. The muscle is soft and relaxed, and you have total control. Not an accident. Now, for those that do want to surface grip, because you're not going to stop some people, especially from some techniques like vertical cutting with flat tops and things like that, we emboss the surface of the comb with texture. If you look in really close there, you can see it says Jack Dean. Jack Dean is the Denman men's brand. So on the back where it says Denman International, UK made with the little Union Jack flag, that's Jack Dean embossed into the surface of the comb. Also, at the bottom side, it's kind of a continuation of the fine teeth, is a grip area here that allows you to set your thumb on it for traction. It's grippiness. We've got it there, and we've got it here. Not accidents. These were very deliberate design choices in developing our early prototypes, moving into the ultimate production of the comb. So let's take a look at the handle. The handle is our lining, edging, detailing, trimming, finishing comb. The handle is designed to work with our trimmer, our little tools for going after little things. The handle is designed to work scissor over comb for some of our very fine detailing and trimming, Just like you oil a clipper, you got to oil the clipperer. You'll notice we've got thin, fine teeth for tension and control. You notice we have a curved spine that mimics the natural curving motion of a tool as we attempt to taper. Now, here's a really key feature, and we took this directly from one of my favorite detailing and finishing combs. This is an example of where we borrowed from the combs that I loved. If you feel this right here at the base of the teeth, that is where the handle, the finishing comb, is the thickest. If you feel it, you'll notice it tapers to the tips of the teeth and it tapers away to the back of the spine. And it does it on the other side. It tapers to the tips of the teeth and it tapers to the spine. So it's almost shaped like an airplane wing. It is oblate, meaning if you cut it in half, you'd see it's oval. That's all about rockering, and this was very deliberate. My favorite detailing comb is rockered like this. It allows you to come in and use that rolling motion to create very natural tapering. That rockering is a subtlety that I can tell you about, and you can see it to some extent, But it's not until you use the comb that all of a sudden you can experience that particular design feature. Let's look at it in action. I think I've got a mannequin here. There's a perfect opportunity to demo this just a little bit. In this sideburn area, I'm going to come in with my trimmer and the handle and the finishing comb handle, and I'm coming in and I'm moving up like that. I'm coming in on the teeth and I'm getting out onto the spine. And what you notice when I do that is you end up with, we didn't cut very much hair, but you can see we've got a beautiful subtle taper in the corner like that. That's a function of the very specific design of the handle for our detailing and finishing. So right there we've covered trimmer and we've covered fine work that is done with maybe the very last half inch of our scissors when we're doing detailing and finishing work. We've also got flexibility there. If you're going to lever that onto the head, you're going to push on that a little bit. That tail end is flexible to really work with the very tightest and closest of our cutting. If you're looking to power away a subtle line, that's a beautiful comb for getting that done. So that's our handle. We talked about our grip section in the middle. Now let's get into the main blade of the comb. Let's get into our clipper comb, our blending scissors, our razor cutting, and our straight scissor comb. Couple of things. Number one, we went with rounded teeth. So we've got smooth flow into and through the hair on the scalp for all our work. It's a comfortable comb for the client. The client's not feeling scraped or scratched because of those rounded, subtle teeth. Now we have the shorter teeth. Those are what I call dual tension teeth. And again, this is a design that we took from one of my favorite combs, having not only wide but also narrow teeth. You know, blending scissor work is always traditionally best done with wider teeth. I want the hair to fall and lay and go naturally where it falls and lays and goes on its own. I want to work higher up the teeth in the wider teeth. When I go to scissor over comb with straight shears, I'll work down low where the shorter teeth engage with the hair to give me that purchase, to give me that grab of the hair, to give me that better tension. Let's take a look at those two things on tooth action. So if we're working with our blending scissors, of course we know we're going to come in at an angle, and we're going to try to work as high up the teeth as we can. Typically, blending scissors are going to be used on hair that's a bit drier. When we work with our straight shears, and I'm going to round into the back just a little bit. He's got a little bit of a mullet going on here, and I want to find my way into some of this longer hair through the back. But when I work with my straight shears, I'm going to bring that comb higher up, and I'm going to roll that comb a bit. And you'll notice when I roll the comb, when I roll the top of the tips of the teeth out towards me, you will notice that the hair drops into those finer teeth. We grab the hair better, we hold the hair better, and we get better control of the hair with those shorter teeth. Now, a couple of other design elements. When we talk about scissor work and scissor over comb, we went with a thicker spine along the bottom. That's to allow for that parallel positioning of our stable blade so that we can follow along, keeping the blade stable to the spine. Same thing goes for our classic blending shear work. We can run parallel to that straight spine, curved spine here, straight spine here. You'll also notice the distance across the teeth from the end to the handle is ideally suited to longer scissors for scissor over comb work. Now, I didn't want this to be so long. I have an original prototype that is a bunch longer, didn't fit in the barbicide jar. But our goal was we wanted it to be long enough. 7.5 was the largest scissors we felt anybody might use over comb with a zoot comb. This is a 6.5. Put another inch on it, and you're still covered. Again, not an accident, a very deliberate design choice. Now, that covers our blending scissors and our straight scissors. Let's talk razors for a minute. I've always been a big believer that razor cutting was about texture, movement, and activation. When you want hair to behave your way, you cut it with a scissors, and you cut it with fine teeth, tension, distribution, and control. When you want hair to behave its way, you want to go to lower tension. So that again, we go to the wide teeth for much of our razor cutting action and our razor cutting choices. When we go to a razor and we talk about texture, we want to work in and with the wider, softer teeth to keep the results of our hair cutting softer, more broken, and more random. So again, we ended up with a comb ideally suited to razor work. Now I'm clipper guy, right? Let's get into clippers. No accidents here in the clipper conversation. Couple things. Number one, I wanted the surface to be very smooth for uninterrupted clipper action. We did that. We've got no lip or ridge where the teeth blend down into the spine. It's a smooth transition without that ledge that you sometimes see on a conventional cutting comb. Clipper combs don't have it. We were not going to have that ledge. You'll also notice on the internal tooth, the short tooth, the teeth are angled in from both sides. They're angled in. That's called a bevel or a side bevel on those short teeth. If those teeth had a full square corner, you would snag them or catch them on the clipper. You would not be able to slide back and forth in a very smooth way. And again, very deliberate design decision. Now, we're also about the width of a clipper blade. No accident, we don't clipper cut on a skinny comb half the size of our blade. We want it to be about the size of our blade for smooth transmission and use. So we've got that surface, we've got that beveled tooth, we've got the width or the height to accommodate our clipper cutting. We've got a handle for clipper cutting allowing us to work at an angle. Again, another key feature. Now let's take a look at the unique patented guard system. There's red, white, and blue, just like America. There's red, white, and blue. Our friends in the UK built this for us, but it's sold around the world. And the guards are a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Red, white, blue, 2, 3, 4. The comb itself is approximately a number 1. We worked on the thickness to get it thick enough to be functional, but thin enough to approximately serve as a number 1. And then we built our guards. Now the guards are labeled English, metric, and standard numbers. 1/2 inch, 13 millimeters, number 4. Standard throughout the industry. And the guards are reversible for right or left-handed. It was very important to me that we didn't build a righty-only tool. My wife's a lefty. She doesn't cut hair. I have friends that are lefties, and I know people in the business that struggle with the fact that there are specialty tools out there that are right hand only. And hair cutters, lefty hair cutters, are a part of the game. So here we go. You'll notice that these two teeth, instead of being rounded like we described earlier, have a bit of a chisel point or a bevel. And the guard has notches on its widest extreme teeth. You set those chiseled teeth in the notches like that, and you snap back the guard just the same way you would put a guard on a clipper. You lead with the leading edge, in, down, snap. Once you know how to do it right, it's a snap. I had a few people in the early going who purchased these who struggled with figuring out how to get the guards on. It's new and it's different. I got you. No problem. So I have some videos on that. But here in this video, we'll clarify. I usually will put this guard in my palm, in my hand like that. I will set it down, on, and snap it down. And boom, it's done. One hand and you're over. Okay, so what do we got? The guards have wide teeth that match up to every other tooth on the comb. We still have full access to all the teeth within the comb. They extend the height of the comb or the size of the comb by about 1 centimeter. So we've got a bunch more comb tooth to work with. Now, the clip right here does not overhang to the face of the comb. It lies very, very perfectly flush. That way it does not in any way interrupt. Remember, it was so important that the comb face was smooth? It's still important. It's not less important now. We want to be able to work across that surface. So when you look at that guard, you say, well, that guard's not 1/2 inch. No, it's not. But the guard plus the comb equals the 1/2 inch. The guard and the comb together give you your 1/2 inch. That's your number 4. So same thing goes for your number 3. The white guard plus the comb equals a 3. And the thin one, the little one, the red guard plus the comb equals a deuce, a 2. Let's take a look at this in action. By the way, because we mentioned it, right-handed, the guard will be on the back side. The guard will be on the client side of the comb. If you're a lefty, you'll switch it round, clicks the other way. You'll notice the teeth are beveled symmetrically to both sides, and the notch is beveled symmetrically to both sides. So righties or lefties can use that tool. Let's take a look at it in action so you can see what this is all about. Clipper over comb. I'm going to use it just like any clipper comb, but the difference is now I have increased the thickness of the back of the comb by virtue of the presence of the guard. I can set this flat to the head and take off everything extending outside of it, and boom, I've got a 4 because I've got a 4. I can also tip it out and roll it back just like traditional clipper over comb. Notice I'm combing and then I'm rolling. I can also tip it out and roll it back. Notice I'm coming out and off the head. I'm tapering at a much, much longer length than the limited 1/2 inch of the guard. Boom, bingo, easy. Now, one of the other advantages of this is for very, very rapidly and very, very quickly blending your haircuts. I want to see if I have one here I can use. Yes, I do. I'm going to grab a clipper, and I am going to grab, I've got all my tools here, I'm going to grab a 4 guard. That's a 4 guard. Now, I put my 4 guard on this clipper. We're charged up. We're good to go. All right. And kind of basic haircut procedure. I'm going to work on this side right here. I'm going to isolate that fringe because I don't want to cut that fringe. Let me find a clip. All right, I got a clipper gripper right here. Just going to put that up there like that. But if I take my clipper with a guard, and this is a 4 guard, and I cut this portion with a 4 guard, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Guard your guard, fingertip on the guard when cutting. I cut this portion with a 4 guard. Now, if I cut the hair above that area with a scissors, 4 guard through the perimeter, above that area with a scissors, and I need to blend those two together, I now can take my clipper and my zoot comb with my 4 guard. I can come in diagonally using the light color. You see the guide? The light color to see the guide, and simply knowing this is a 4. This was a 4. This is a 4. I come in and I can blend right off of it by rocking on the head, rolling up and into my longer top length, and I get beautiful blending because a 4 matches a 4 matches a 4. That's part of the idea of being able to use the guards on my zoot comb. Now, one other feature I want to point out. Many of you who have seen me do many demos know about my skip guard technique, where I use a 4 and then I skip my 3 and I use my 2 I use my 4. Here's my 4. I use my 4. Then I skip my 3 and I go to my 2. And I work lower with my 2. And by rocking it out using that rocking motion, my 4 blends into my 2 to give me beautiful tapering. You guys have heard me do that. I've got hundreds of videos on that out there. I've been talking about it for years. If you're not familiar, go to my YouTube and just go to skip guard. Type in Ivan Zoot and type in skip guard tapering. Just type that in there. You'll totally find it. If I can find it later, I'll put it in the comments here in the video so you can go straight to it. But the same thing can be done with your zoot comb with your guard system. So the idea would be I put on my 4 and I taper up with my 4. I work from long to short, from high to low, from top to bottom. That's my 4. Now, I take off my 4, I skip my 3, I pick up my 2, I put my 2 guard, I put my 2 guard in place on my zoot comb, laying it flat, coming in close, working tight, I rock it up and out, and ideally my 2 will blend up into my 4 beautifully. But if I use my 4 and I skip my 3 and I use my 2, if there's a line, a step, a ledge, a ridge, a mark, or a demarcation between my 4 and my 2, boom, the 3, the intermediate sized guard, will simply peel off any transition. So that's the idea behind skip guard tapering. That's the idea behind the design of the zoot comb as it relates specifically to clipper use. And we have a lot of fun putting this thing together. We've had even more fun demoing it, selling it, and sharing it with beauty and barber professionals. So if you've got a zoot comb and you fell in love with it, tell me about it in the comments. If you've got a zoot comb and you're just not in love yet, you need to dig a little deeper. Hopefully this video has provided you with a lot of information as to how we got here, why we got here, why the features allow you to do the things they allow, and why the zoot comb is going to be your absolute favorite men's hair cutting tool, the ultimate men's hair, short hair, barbering cutting tool. The Swiss Army knife keeps folding out all those unique features in the zoot comb. Thank you to my friends at Denman. Thank you to the Jack Dean brand, the zoot comb, Ivan Zoot, zoot comb by Jack Dean for Denman. Amazon.com, IvanZoot.com, beauty and barber supply dealers and distributors all over the world have it in stock and shipping immediately, because the day you pick it up is the day it will transform your men's hair cutting literally forever. I want to hear from you if you like it. I want to hear from you if you need some tips and tricks to help you get more from your zoot comb. Go out and do some awesome haircuts. You're going to love it, and your clients are going to love what you do for them, because they always love what you do for them. That's why you're their hair cutter. That's why I'm Ivan, and that's why this is your zoot comb. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for going along with me on a deep dive into the zoot comb and what it's all about. Have a great day. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.